Cover your nose.
Those weren't Halloween costumes. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have front row seats to the destruction of the American ideals, which are being eviscerated right in front of our eyes. Lots of things happening, lots of them to get into, unfold, and unpack from the usual tyrannical propaganda, disinformation, smear agents that want to keep you blind, deaf, and dumb. And we here as an independent media organization, well, we're just not going along with that bullcrap, as of course the majority of people's reality is carefully crafted by social media that use trauma-based mind control along with other divide and conquer tactics that are meant to control your perception of reality. And in some ways it's working, in some ways they are not. There's been a lot of alternatives to big tech social media. People's telegrams, email accounts, Signals, Minds, Hive accounts have all seen, of course, a major uptick in user base, as of course the big monopolies continue to censor more voices that don't go along with their agenda and narrative. And in response to this, very interestingly, Donald Trump has just announced that he is starting his own social media platform. My opinion on this is a little bit late to the game, to say the least, as of course the former president of the United States has been deplatformed from most big tech social media companies. Will his social media company that is, quote, there to stand up to the tyranny of big tech work? Will people use it? Are people disenfranchised with too many of his broken promises? Will it become just another echo chamber on the internet? Well, we don't know. Time will, of course, tell, but this is definitely an interesting venture, to say the least. Also, in related big tech social media news, we're learning that the alleged Facebook whistleblower that has been blowing up all over the mainstream media and, of course, very prominently promoted and talked about has, of course, connections to U.S. intelligence agencies, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone with, of course, the agenda that she was pushing for. In related controlled perceptions of reality news, we have this video footage coming out of Melbourne, Australia, showing people scream out of their balconies because the government declared the lockdowns that they imposed on everyone to be temporarily lifted. As of course travel limits, capacity at bars have been scrapped, and of course people celebrated that they didn't have to live a life under more government. This after Melbourne was on lockdown for 262 days under the most strictest stay-at-home orders, 6 major significant lockdowns over the past 2 years, having the record of the most lockdown city in the world. Finally got a little bit less of government, and living life without government intervention is a great thing. But I do have to say that this nightmare is definitely not over for the Australian people with what the government has planned for them in the future, with, of course, more lockdowns expected. I'm going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, as well as pharmacies literally giving out blue pills in an almost direct reference to the Matrix for people who got their government compliance procedure. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all exclusively later on today on LukeUncensored.com. Yesterday's Luke Uncensored video, by the way, was a little bit delayed. There were some technical issues. It just came out now, so you could expect 2 brand new, spanking, unfiltered videos ready for you on LukeUncensored.com, waiting for you later on today, which, of course, we send you a notification of on our email list, which is free to sign up on. And you could just sign up on wearechange.org in the top right-hand corner, just putting in your email, clicking subscribe. It's that easy, or just clicking the link down in the description below. And when you sign up on our email list, you make us uncensorable. You make us untouchable, since, of course, unlike big tech social media companies, we actually get to keep the emails, the contacts with you directly, one-on-one, with no middleman threatening to take it away at any moment and time. Emails are some of the best ways. Make sure if you are signed up on our email list that the emails are not going into spam. If they are, click not spam. That also helps us out tremendously. And seriously, communicating through emails is one of the surest ways to still guarantee us a voice in this modern day and age. Things are pretty crazy right now. They're definitely going to get crazier. A lot of people are being obliterated, deleted, censored for the smallest microaggression, and again, doesn't cost you anything. It's free, and it supports us tremendously just for you guys to sign up on the email list. If you haven't done that yet, what are you waiting for? Click the link right now. Sign up to LukeUncensored.com, and I hope to see you there later on today. And if you won our lottery on LukeUncensored.com a few days ago, get ready for the event with Timcast.com and the whole crew here, along with Ryan Long, Danny Polishak. I butchered his name, this Saturday in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. I hope to see you there. I'm emailing you guys the information, the people who won, all on LukeUncensored.com, where we do giveaways and plan on expanding that platform greatly very soon. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a little bit of a rumbling in the global economy, in the supply chain, in the basic economics that are defying the basic laws of mathematics and logic every single day, to the point where now Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear, kicking some major fiat buttocks. Now, like Bitcoin or dislike Bitcoin, it doesn't matter, but it is important to highlight its exponential growth that has been happening with this U.S. technology, all on the backdrop of people continuing to lose faith in the fiat system, where now there's even a U.S. public pension fund that started to invest in Bitcoin for the first time ever. This is one major move of many yet to come, as more and more people are realizing that this piece of paper is not just losing its relevance, but losing its value. This, as gas has just hit $7.59 a gallon in California, and as the government has just announced new track, trace, and database surveillance provisions, which will be watching almost every detail of your personal accounting in your private bank accounts, as the Democrats are trying to ram through a surveillance bill that will virtually allow them to see everything happening in your private online fiat banking system. The Democrats just recently announced that they're changing the threshold from $600 as a precursor for being spied on to $10,000, which of course is something that most Americans have within the year. And if you have around $10,000 in your account, the Democrats want to see every single transaction, so they could, of course, tax and regulate you to make sure that you're giving your pound of flesh to the federal government every single year and paying every single tax to the penny. This so they could, quote, pay for trillions of dollars of programs, including equity programs, that, of course, sow division in this country and only indebt it so much further, even though the U.S. Federal Reserve literally just prints money out of thin air. When you have an overabundance of something, it, of course, starts to lose its value. This hyperinflation, of course, creates poverty, creates crime, creates people, of course, becoming more desperate and brazen by the day, as, of course, there's viral footage going around all social media showing that in major cities where George Soros usually finances a prosecutor, you have massive smash and grab operations as people start to desperately steal from one another whatever they could get their hands on, while George Soros's DAs look the other way. And with the economic situation becoming more difficult as politicians try to normalize this behavior, people wonder why the President of the United States approval numbers are fading dramatically, as of course he implemented many of these insane policies that are leading to chaos on the streets of America. As of course many people are concerned over the economy, concerned over the sickness, which of course Biden and the national media criticized the previous president for almost every casualty of. But meanwhile, Biden has even more casualties under his reign, and even though the media is still pitching him softballs, still patting him on the back, still supporting him every step of the way with his delusions, still people are seeing through the propaganda and wildly disapproving of what the president is doing right now. And of course, especially when it comes to the concerns, when it comes to the economy, they are definitely warranted, as we are facing major problems with the global supply chain that have only been exacerbated not by the sickness, but by government mandates, lockdowns, restrictions, taxes, protocols, and fat cat middleman bureaucrats standing in the way, demanding their paycheck when it comes to the free commerce of trade. And what we're seeing right now in California, what we're seeing with so many ships just backlogged, just standing, waiting to be unloaded, we of course need to remember that every step of the way, the government created this problem and exacerbated it to the crucial point that it is right now, where even hauling companies are offering $100,000 salary with $15,000 signing bonuses to try to lure the need for 80,000 truckers that could help ease the supply crisis that this country is going through right now. Shipping containers are being dumped into the streets of California because the ports are filled, and the ramifications, the full ramifications of this entire saga, of this entire problem, have not yet been felt, but will be felt within the next coming days, weeks, and months. And if you haven't been preparing, you haven't been paying attention, as there's even consideration of using the National Guard to help this global supply chain travesty that is unfolding right now. And this supply chain slowdown won't just be affecting treadmills. It's going to be affecting almost every aspect of your existence, every aspect of trade, of manufacturing, of production. As of course, because of this paper losing value, many people don't even want to work anymore because they're not making enough money to survive. The cost of living is dramatically going up. Meanwhile, wages are kind of stagnating. And why work when you can't even afford to live? And on top of that, we have a workers' mandate that demands people go through a government hoop of compliance in order to have the ability to even work in many circumstances. All to fight a sickness that the government has been lying through their teeth about, as we're finding out today with even the NIH admitting that Dr. Fauci lied to Congress about him funding part of the gain-of-function experiments that happened at the Level 3 Wuhan laboratory that is at the center of all of this. Yes, literally the NIH just came out and admitted something that Dr. Fauci was not telling the truth about, and if he wasn't telling us the truth about that, well, what else is he hiding from the general public? And as the government can't even get their talking points straight, as they keep creating more problems that exacerbate this problem, as they keep demanding more and more from you, as they keep taking away more for themselves, what are other countries like China doing? Well, they're usually implementing almost the exact opposite of policies here in the United States. Here in the United States, we promote the woke doctrine. We stop energy exploration domestically and rely on foreign oil from Saudi Arabia. We open up the border to anyone that wants to come in. All of these policies are the exact opposite, of course, of what China is doing, as they're promoting masculinity in their school. They close their borders, promote a national agenda, while, of course, exploring for energy anywhere they can so they can be independent from Middle East dictatorships. And according to some sources, they have just tested a second hypersonic low-orbital nuke weapon that is, quote, capable of breaching U.S. missile defense systems, which, according to some in the United States, quote, defies the laws of physics and is, quote, unlike any weapon the U.S. has. And what does the United States have to show? Well, we have our first sworn-in transgender 4-star officer. Yes, as Dr. Rachel Levine, person who has implemented absolutely horrible medical policies in Pennsylvania that have devastated and in some cases obliterated nursing homes in Pennsylvania, was just recently celebrated and promoted in what the mainstream media is calling making history during a ceremony where she was promoted and sworn in as an admiral. And meanwhile, China is doing this. Allegedly, as of course China is also denying reports that it's testing a hypersonic low-orbital missile. The United States Pentagon has just announced that the Navy has also successfully tested their own hypersonic weapon, which is pretty peculiar and very interesting that they were able to do this in such a short time. But as this nation becomes more robbed, more poorer by the day, more divided, there still are some people holding out fighting back against this nonsense, which I would even say and theorize is done deliberately to destroy America from the inside, as of course almost every single policy promoted by the Biden administration has obliterated the small and middle class of this country, while of course promoting the multinational corporate billionaire class that are international globalists and of course have no allegiance to the United States. Those are the people that are profiting almost at every single step of the way in the Biden administration with almost every single policy that he promotes, while of course you get the raw end of the deal, the short end of the straw, left questioning why am I holding this piece of paper that keeps being devalued by the day? And that's a question a lot of people are asking. A lot of people are standing up to this nonsense. We're going to be talking about those individuals, those organizations on LukeUncensored.com, from in and out to police officers actually making a stand for what's right. And there's a lot of important news to get into that we're going to be continuing to talk about on LukeUncensored.com. I hope to see you there later on today. I got a lot more to say. If you like this video, click the like button. If you disagreed with something I said, let me know what in the comment section below. You disliked the video, click the dislike button. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.